Hey, this is Notser, and today we're taking a look at the Tier 8 Premium British aircraft carrier, Indomitable. We are on the map Two Brothers. This is work in progress, and the build is on the screen. I wanted to cover this game because this is the most recent version of the Indomitable that was just up to date, and there's a lot of people buying premium CVs, and I don't want you to make an uninformed decision. Now, look at the build. It's an extensive build. I could rattle off Last Gasp, Adrenaline Rush, Survivability Expert, Concealment, Aircraft Armor, Improved Engine Speed, Torpedo Acceleration, which is completely irrelevant for this particular ship, but I don't have any other British aircraft carrier captains that I would use, and then Improved Engine Boost, and finally, Improved Engine Restoration. It's just my very safe, typical, audacious, furious, implacable build, and that's okay. You know, it's only 2 points that are wasted, and that's because there are no torpedo squadrons on the Indomitable. But with this up-to-date attack rocket squadron, it's something very interesting that they've done. They've given it a little bit more teeth from the Alpha Strike standpoint, but it has very high fire chance. So what ends up happening is I can have my attack rockets on cooldown going after the enemy, and if I obviously aim for the superstructure, I'll have enough penetration, and I have a chance to light it on fire. Well, one fire is not the end of the world, but most players allow one fire to burn, as the examples have so far. We've got 21,000 damage done and 3 fires. So I'm really pleased with so far how this is working out. It's a absolute jump in effectiveness from the previous version of this. It was honestly garbage, but the attack rocket buff is one that's welcomed. And on top of that, it has 4 fighter squadrons per squad versus 3, so you're not giving up on that regard as well. You used to do that too. It used to be just straight, you have less fighters, less options, less tools. And now it's more like you've got just as many options for fighter. You've got super speed, I mean, absolutely the fastest aircraft carrier squadrons in the game that allow you to disengage quickly, but also get right back into the action. So it's a really fun and exciting squadron design, and it's one that, for the longest time, didn't really have any hope. But teammates are dealing with the enemy DD. I, of course, would love to pick on this Dallas, who seemingly wants to run into the island. The attack rockets work very well, and one that, honestly, I don't know what he was thinking, but maybe he won't be thinking anymore if we can kill him outright. We do land a fire, he's barely alive, and of course he puts the fire out, but friendly Wichita finishes him off. And just like that, I'm going to go boom on the Bismarck and then boom right on the Colorado. Note that the attack rockets, they basically are aimable immediately. It's a really cool experience. You can't do this with anyone else. And oh, we just barely flew too far, too fast towards the Colorado. I needed to scrub off a little bit more speed, I think. But that's okay. You know, this flank is pretty well handled. It looks like the enemy headed out towards the eastern side, so I can take my time and just work with my teammates and do the best I can. Now, we've talked a lot about the attack rockets and their effectiveness. You know, good alpha, good fire chance, great speed, and very easy to manipulate that last gasp. The carpet bombing is a little less spectacular. It's lost some of its teeth over the years. The first iteration was incredibly easy to exploit and cheese and do tons of damage. This version is not quite. You only get 2 squadrons in your full squadron allotment, which is fine. You know, it works very well with Last Gasp. Honestly, I would forcibly manipulate it so that Last Gasp is always a possibility after an attack, because I don't want to lose my squadrons. And you can see how you got to give a little bit of lead, not quite as much as the Audacious though, and no fire. Okay, fine. Well, we'll scramble our attack rocket and we'll go and do a single point of fire damage towards them very quickly. Love the way the Sea Hornets look. I love the performance difference. I know this is out on the limb, and I know that this is completely different from all the other premium CVs. But this is something that is potentially available that wasn't with the old RTS design. You could make a aircraft carrier with only one squadron, and it would be just a really unique squadron. And I like that. That gives you a lot of potential. This is a completely different premium from any other premium CV. You know, it has a ton of speed, but it doesn't have torpedoes. And we're obviously rotating around, doing what we need to do, using the speed to get out of the aura and then come right back. And if the person sets a fire or he puts the fire out, it usually has enough time for me to disengage and then reignite. It's a really solid experience. I like that, you know, it's very accurate, but it is very limited in its scope on what it can basically set on fire. I think that's kind of cool. You know, you're never going to get maybe more than one section set on fire. It's a very narrow attack, which of course is a huge advantage, but it limits that over-ignite fire that is so prevalent. I mean, we've already got 8 fires. We've already done 82,000 damage. Yes, they've been pretty isolated, but it works quite well in its current design, right? Yeah. Now, just a quick check, eastern side of the map. My friendly Hirakaze, he was like, oh, do you want me to go in the center? Yes, go towards and disrupt. Oh, crap, you've got enemy air coming towards you. Well, I'm out of position. I can't help you right now. I should go and help him, and I just underestimated it. That is something that you have to consider about the Indomitable, is that it only has 2 squadrons. There is a risk that you will lose these, you know, single individual aircraft through flak or just concentrated fire. When you lose the squadron, you know, you lose a lot of effectiveness. You don't have a third option to go with, and that's going to limit this premium CV to probably players of the aircraft carrier that are a little bit more comfortable without losing too much. And I'm trying to stall this emergency. This is the guy that my team was like, he's firing on me. The enemy aircraft carrier counters with a fighter himself. We're just going to try and blow right through this. Use the speed that we have, and we do very well with that. And unfortunately, the fighter attaches. So immediately, when you see the indicator switch over, you should try and recall. That gives you the best opportunity to save as many as possible in a situation similar. Unfortunately, I lose my friendly DD in the worst possible way. I should have just done a better job for him. I kind of let him down. He doesn't have the AA, and he didn't have smoke at the time. I needed to keep fighters up and above him to prevent the enemy aircraft carrier from being successful. It's just a really unfortunate misplay by me. And one that, you know, maybe it'll cost us this game, because it's still pretty close. And fortunately, the fighter was successful in disrupting the attack rockets of the enemy. I am just attempting to try and relight or set a fire for the first time. There are multiple enemies attacking, and I think I'm going to lose them all. Oh, of course we do. And look at the drop. It's British. They drop very slow. So there's plenty of time for an aircraft carrier, for a ship, to avoid the aircraft carrier. But I can scramble right on the enemy. Look how quickly we get right over to the enemy on Two Brothers especially. This is huge advantage, but look at what happens. The reticle never settled down, and I didn't have enough boost. You burn through your boost on the Indomitable. These are big aircraft. They require boost to keep the speed up. If you don't have the speed, I mean, you're going to lose aircraft that are really difficult to replace. Remember, this is a limited hangar size. It's British. It has armored deck. So every aircraft that's shot down against these guys sticks a lot harder than if it were, you know, another premium. And most of the enemy seems to be grouped up over by their capture base. They did a great job of, you know, coming together to defend it. But I would love for them to be, you know, completely wiped out. So we're just going to fly through with our carpet bomb. Carpet bombing is honestly very effective against grouped up targets because you're always moving through. Sammy Cleveland, very stationary. Don't do as much damage as I was hoping for. But we were able to successfully drop, and I was able to use Last Gasp, which instantly functions every single carpet bomb run. It's got 2 possible drops in a squadron, and that works perfect for Last Gasp because, if you're not familiar, Last Gasp activates when there's only 1 potential attack squadron left. You know, one section, 1/4 of it. But we learned from our mistake before. We wait a little bit before we activate the engine. Get in range of the Cleveland, do pretty good damage, honestly, set them on fire. I'm trying to mitigate some of the losses as I'm flying through, so I use my fighter to absorb some of the flak. Because my aircraft are so vulnerable, I need to keep every single one alive. Otherwise, I could never hope to deal with so many enemy ships grouped up. There's only 2 friendlies on this flank, by the way. They need all the help they can get. But I am just basically passively scouting them, instantly spawn, instantly fly my aircraft over, and everyone can decide who they want to go after. And speaking of deciding who you want to go after, I don't really know if this is a good idea. We are flying through a lot of enemies, a lot of enemy aircraft carrier, anti-air, and I'm just trying to get over to that Cleveland, who we set on fire. I'm trying to take advantage of the fact that, yes, I do think another friendly set him on fire. So that's 2 fire set on the enemy Cleveland. And yes, he is burning, and we should not have done that. We're going to lose our whole squadron. There is no point in trying to make that work. It was a waste of aircraft. I should have recalled. I should have played more passive, and I should have dealt with the Shiratsuyu, who's on our doorstep, clearly. But I've got the perfect tool for this. Oh, we actually burned down the Cleveland. Nice. The attack rockets. They're really awesome. They're really accurate. They're really fast. And we're able to do a little bit of chip damage, earn Confederate. But he's in the process of capturing. And look how close this game is. Friendly Judge in the Wichita is dealing with the Abruzzi. I am just trying to find the enemy. So I go after almost the exact same location. Clearly, he's moved away. And notice my squadron size. My dive bombers are vulnerable. I basically have none left. And I'm waiting on my attack rockets to fly their way back to my aircraft carrier before I am sending out my next one. I just want to make sure I have something. And yeah, we're watching it as it lands on the aircraft carrier. It's going to fly real fast. And boom. They're both already landed. They're both already resupplied. Ready to go. Let's go after the enemy DD. Now, he's still in smoke, but we still do effectively have 3 attacks, which is great. But I don't think I'm going to automatically attack the smoke. There's really nothing I can use as a lead at this point. The only thing I know is that he's in the capture point, and confirming by circling around the smoke, he has not left it. He is absolutely right there on top of it. So as I fly over, of course, we spot that the smoke is dissipating, and he is trying to escape. He sent torpedoes my way, I believe, my aircraft carrier. And yep, I can hear them coming towards my aircraft carrier, but I want to kill him. So I'm going to rotate around. Oh, we're right on the edge of being a little too close, but it works out. Disrupt his base capture. Friendly was able to take out the Abruzzi, and we have a little bit larger advantage, I would say. And man, this is a very bold strategy, just a little too close in my opinion. You can't really afford to rotate around a DD like this. The aircraft are just so fast. It's really hard to not overshoot a Japanese DD that has his AA turned off, because you can't see him, so you have to sort of blindly set your attack, and you got to hope that it stays close, and we're just barely staying close to the enemy. Could scramble my squadron right now. I would have another attack, but oh no. Look at who is in the center. Normandy. Normandy has come down the center, and I am not in a good position. This looks really bad. But my squadron was reclaimed. You know, we haven't lost any. We still have our 5. So I'm going to just move to try and either assist with the Cleveland or help wipe out the Normandy. And once I see that the New Orleans is barely alive, The choice is very simple because look at where he wants to go. He wants to turn in and attack me. We do get a fire, which is great. Unfortunately, the friendly openly fires. So, yeah, the Normandy's just going to try and kill him. Which he does. Sets another fire on his nose. Can we get a third fire on this guy? We can get a third fire on this guy. And he's got 3 fires. Is he going to put them out? Is he just going to burn down? I think he's just going to burn down. And this is a very easy kill. That's another aspect of this that could be available to a player. You know, you would rotate around a ship, set one fire on a superstructure, and then the aim is precise enough that you could aim for the bow or the stern or the second location on the superstructure and feel, you know, very adequate, very successful, very accurate. Oh, of course, we're going to lose a Richelieu. Back and forth we go. The game will never end. I've got to help continuously. This is the same Cleveland that seemingly has survived forever. And we're just going to line up this attack rocket, which very easy, very, very easy. I think we blew up a gun or a secondary or an AA mount. And just flying too long over his AA aura. This is not something I can afford because we're still losing somehow. Just completely mistake. Just a huge mistake. Huge mistake. You can't do that. At this stage of the game, losing a squadron like that could be the difference between me dying to Captain Jack or Captain Joe K and living. It was just a straight mistake. Absolutely. And we've got about 2 minutes left. We've got to get the Cleveland killed, and I can't afford to die. I need to keep the Dallas alive as well. He's trying so desperately, and oh, the Cleveland aligns perfectly. He could not have played it worse in that precise moment. He turned perfectly to align with it, and we wipe him out. This is actually a pretty cool carrier position because it's basically torpedo safe from all angles except one. He can't afford to drop, and I have good AA coverage. Obviously, the mountain range drops down. It's a very difficult position for him to get close without taking significant losses. So just, you know, a tip for anyone who's looking for a Two Brothers position that they can make use of. The best possible position is one where you have shallow islands that go right up to your aircraft to prevent torpedoes, but the ridge line is far enough away that your AA can instantly turn on when he clears the line of sight. Sometimes you'll find that the island is, you know, too harsh and too tall, and your AA can't possibly fire because it would be firing just straight above you. That's the first chance to even fire. So really liking all of the situations that occurred in this game. I love the attack rockets. They are night and day. I really need to stress this. The attack rockets, up until probably 2 or 3 days ago, were an absolute joke. It was as if you were playing an aircraft carrier with a single squadron. But no longer. The attack rockets and the carpet bomb both work very well. And this is icing on the cake, honestly. There's just no way for us to kill him or be killed at this point. So I'm just trying to get a little bit of damage on him. Of course, the fighter attaches, and of course, we're going to lose that squadron. But really happy with this performance. 170,000 damage done, 14 fire set. I do not have high explosive, the demolition expert skill, so that's just straight the default fire chance. And you notice how we were that successful, and he's dropping on the Dallas. I think the Dallas is okay. Yeah, I think the Dallas is okay. But you notice how we were successful. Going in towards a battleship, sort of isolated, set a fire, ask him to make the choice. Do you let the fire burn, or do you put it out? If you put it out, hopefully we can follow up with 2. If you allow it to burn, it's just free dot damage. It's a win-win in my book, and it's a fun experience. This is very different from all the other aircraft carriers in the game, both premium and non-premium. So, really pleased by it. Hopefully this answers any questions you may have had. I intend to go after every single premium CV in sort of a bite-sized chunk video. Not today, of course. 2 kills, 26 aircraft shot down, 2,627 base XP. And I really can't stress this enough. It was an awful ship prior to the recent hotfix where they buffed the attack rockets. Now I will actually consider this premium CV along with all the other premium CVs they just released. Thanks for watching my video. If you would like to check out more of my content, we've got the most recent upload and the most relevant video to your interests. So check that out. And you can also click on the N if you'd like to subscribe for more. I release World of Warship videos daily. Thanks for watching. I hope you all have a wonderful day, and I'll catch you next time.